Well, here we are in the brand newly decorated Mirable Studios in Royal Berkshire. At last, it's done. I can't believe it. It's done. I've got like olive green walls, and I know someone did say to me, green. I said, yes. Why green? I said, because I like the colour green. What's wrong with the colour green? We've got to be green, haven't we? The best political parties are green now, dear. Chris Reardon is green as well, except for his shirt, which is pink today. So their walls are... I have to say, behind me now, we've got a lovely green wall, and it does look a bit, should we say, bare. There's nothing on there. But I don't really want to start banging nails in the wall that's just been repaired and brought back up to scratch and painted and everything else. So I'm going to have a look around for a unit, I think. And then put that behind me, and then I'll be able to put in little bits and pieces that lovely people like yourselves are kind enough to send in to me, which is always greatly appreciated. Over the years, people have sent in plates and little cuddly toys and pictures and other knickknacks, and it's nice to be able to put them behind you. At the moment, I have to say, it looks clean, but it looks boring. Would you agree with that? Those of you that are watching the show, of course, on YouTube. If you're just listening, don't worry, you're not missing anything. I always describe everything, don't I, eh? I do. Also, for those of you watching, I may be looking a little bit dark or possibly a little bit green at the moment because the green from the wall in front of me is reflecting back onto my face. I do look quite ill, actually, but I just want to point out there's actually nothing wrong with any of my organs at the moment. All my organs are functioning outside of normal perimeters, but satisfactorily. Please do not worry. I've had a lovely time, actually. I've been up with my sisters for the Easter break, as you probably heard on the last couple of shows, but I haven't really got time to talk to you about all of this because emails have been building up. Now, what I had to do, because, number one, I couldn't get into the studio for about a week and a half, and number two, I was going up to my sister's for a little break, what I did was record shows ahead. Because it just horrifies me, the thought of you missing out on me for a few days. It really does. I know that you're sitting there saying, oh no, you deserve a break. I can't tear myself away from you, not for more than a moment at a time. So what I did was record a few shows in advance. Now, because of that, your lovely emails, can you hear this? These are all emails, have been building up. So I thought over the next few shows, what we'll do is catch up with the emails, and then I'll start rabbiting on about usual rubbish I rabbit on about after we've got through the emails over the next few shows, all right? So, welcome along. My name's Chris Reardon. This is United Kingdom Talk, coming to you from the brand new Mirable Studios here in Royal Berkshire. It's a lovely new carpet down as well. Beautiful carpet. You can't see it. And I'm a bit worried about moving the webcam. Now, I'll tell you why. As you know, I've got a brand new webcam. The picture quality is really very good. It's all metal, except for the base of it. Here's the base of it. It's plastic. It's clear plastic. It looks very nice. But it breaks easily. And unfortunately, the top of it has snapped off into the metal part of the webcam, and there's no way of getting that back. So at the moment, what I've had to do is tape, literally, with this, what's that called? I love this. Oh, I love the smell of that. It's like parcel tape, and I've taped it to a box, and it's on a pen to make it sort of even, otherwise I was looking crooked. So I don't dare move the thing, and I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this. A bit of super glue, I mean, I don't know about you, but I've found super glue is not as good as they make it out to be. Have you ever found that? You're supposed to be able to fix anything, and all it seems to do is end up sticking your fingers together. I mean, plastic to metal, I don't know. Now, I've got a glue gun, which is actually quite good at doing certain things, but I think in this case, because all it requires is the tiniest bit of glue on the end of this holder, which would then stick into the camera, but it is actually a screw fixing. So, ideally, I'd like to unscrew it and use perhaps another little holder which they provided, which is more like a I don't know, it's like almost like a clamp thing, really, and it would sit on there. But even that, I'm not sure about that as well. I have a feeling, because that's plastic as well, and I think that would break as well. So I'm not quite sure what to do with that, but never mind. Never mind. I'll have to learn to be a bit more careful when I... As I say, beautiful new carpets, all lovely and thick and soft. And I'm determined not to spill anything on it, because I've got a wall carpet. Now, the guy who sold me the thing says, here's your choices. And they had varying different thicknesses of carpet. I went for the thickest one, the most expensive one, because I really don't want to do this job again. It was a nightmare bringing everything in and bringing everything out. Bringing everything out and then bringing everything back in again and wiring it all back up. But actually, I wired all the equipment back up, and you won't believe this, it works first time. It really did. But on the other hand, my brain is able to cope with audio equipment, and most cases video equipment as well. It's not so good with computers, because computer requires logical thinking. Audio, I don't think it requires logical thinking, to be honest. My brand new mixer is installed and everything is just working, and it's just fantastic. You can't see it at the moment, there's all flashing lights around me. You will see that in the coming weeks, okay? So that's it. Okay. Determined not to bring a drink in here. I don't want to spill a drink. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. Yeah, it's a wool carpet. Now, he did tell me that if I was to buy a mixture of wool and something else, would it be propylene or I don't know what it was now, some other sort of carpet stuff, then if I spilt something on it, it would be very, very simple to just wipe it off and the carpet would be fine. This is a wool carpet. If I spill something and I wipe it off, it's likely that the colour will come out of it. So I've got to be very, very careful with that. But the difference is this one will retain its springiness for longer than an artificial one will. So that's why I went for the wool one. Okay then, email time. If you want to join in, the email address is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. I have to tell you, your emails will take a while to come up because we've got quite a backlog here. And indeed, if you have sent anything over the last couple of weeks, I will get to them. I promise you. Cross my heart, I will promise. Notice I didn't say hope to die. I think you can tempt fate sometimes. I really do. Okay? So they will come up eventually. Here come the ones that have been sent in the last few weeks. First of all, from Suko in New York. Hello, Suko, who is a proud mummy. Suko is a proud mummy. She says, well, my girl rocked it. She's recently been in a dancing competition, her daughter Jade. Her points solo had the third highest points of the day. And her lyrical solo won with 296 out of 300 points. Only 4 short of the maximum. That's good. I have to tell you, Suko, years ago, I did go in for a junior Pontin's talent competition. Oh, yes! I played the piano. I was 16 or 17 at the time. I played the piano and I came second, Suko. Second in the the Pontin's Junior Talent Competition. Chris Reardon came second for playing the piano. It's good, isn't it? I mean, the fact that was with only 3 people in it is neither here nor there. I still managed second position, so I was happy about that. Suko says, we are so proud of our daughter. There was a choreographer from Guys and Dolls who asked me if she had an agent, and he and another male judge told me she was amazing. Unfortunately, I only took a few photograph stills because I was so mesmerised and in tears most of the time. Well, let me just lean over and get a pen here. The thing is with photograph taking, Suko, and I've done this on holiday. I've been very, very lucky to have been to Disneyland in Florida 3 times. The first time I took a video camera and a camera, and I remember being in the Disney each day, taking loads of film and loads of photos. The second time I went to Disneyland, I didn't take a camera at all. And I saw everything. I know it sounds stupid, but sometimes you can spend so much time trying to get your picture right or trying to get the the video right that you actually miss out on the moment. Weird, isn't it? So I think you do have a better experience of a lot of things when you go there and you don't worry about the photos. Just forget it. Maybe take a couple of snaps here or there, but try not to be thinking all the time about, oh, that'd be a good shot or that. I mean, let's face it, you and I are not photographers. If you had the money, what I would advise anyone to do on these events, perhaps, is to employ, at one end of the scale, you could employ a professional photographer to come with you to one of Jade's do's and take the photographs for you. Or, if you can't afford that, then that's fine. Take a friend. Take a friend who you know isn't too bad at taking photographs and that sort of thing, and get them to do the photos. Therefore, you can just watch your daughter. You know? It's that one of those things, when you take your photograph, all the time you're thinking, oh, that'll make a nice shot. You don't want to be thinking about that. You want to watch your daughter, don't you? It was the same for me in Disney World. The time I went without the camera was a much better experience. Tsuko goes on to say, so were her teachers and her private teacher's mum and some of the other mothers, she says, telling her how good Jade was. Sorry for the gushing. Oh, that's all right. We're all proud of our children, aren't we? The whole trip, all I wanted to do was call my mum. So telling all my friends who know how gifted she is, the next best thing. Oh, that's nice. So thank you for that, Tsuko. And congratulations to Jade, who I know watches the show now and again, don't you? Not very often. I know, Jade. I know how it is. I know a young girl has more things to do than watch this sad old man sitting here chatting away for an hour 3 times a week. Email address once again is chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Incidentally, boys and girls, you may remember I told you a few weeks ago that I now do a live radio show for a radio station. I can't mention the name of the station because obviously this programme goes on different stations, so I won't do that. However, if you want to find out more about it, at the end of the podcast version, I'll be telling you a little bit more about that, okay? So if you want the podcast version of this show, which is exactly the same as what you're listening to or watching now, but with another minute or so on the end, that's all there is, another minute, just so I can tell you the other bits and pieces that I'm doing so it doesn't interfere with anyone else's schedules, then go to the podcast version of the show. You need to go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk, all right? unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Look for the show dated Tuesday the 21st of April. May not be today's date, I know, but that's the particular date of the show on the podcast, if you see what I mean. All right, once again, go to unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Look for the show dated the 21st of April 2009. And right at the end of the show, right at the very end of the show, is it before or after the music? I can't remember now. Yes, after the music, okay, after the music's finished, I pop up once again for another couple of minutes and just tell you about this other thing I'm doing, okay? Just to let you know that. Alrighty, on we go. I must say I feel very relaxed with you today. I don't know why. Might have been because I've had a couple of weeks off. Oh, it's lovely at my sister. I can't tell you about my sisters. There isn't time. Your emails are more important than my sad, pathetic life. They really are. I have had a cold. Oh, that was awful. I went up to my sister. No. Oh, just a little bit then. I went up to my sister's Thursday. Friday afternoon, I had my usual siesta. If you're new to the show, you won't know. I do have a siesta every afternoon between usually about 4 p.m. and 7 p.m., somewhere around there. And after my Fridays, and I have to do that also when I'm away somewhere. If I'm on holiday or visiting someone, my body is accustomed to doing that, so I must do it. If I don't do it, I get in a real bad state. Stroppy, miserable, a little bit like James Dean. James Dean, incidentally, is another podcaster. He hosts The Matinee Show. You can find that audio on demand podcast, matineeshow.co.uk. Okay? That's where he is. But I do get a little bit stroppy if I don't have that sleep, I must warn you. So I had this sleep on the Friday, and when I got up, I thought, I felt rough. And there was nothing wrong before. Trouble is, at my sister's, I get terrible asthma. She's got 4 dogs and 2 cats now, and it plays havoc. Literally, the moment I step inside her door, 30 seconds later, the sneezing starts. Seriously, it's as quick as that. Unbelievable. And I wonder if that brought on the cold that I had up there, because I felt rough on the Friday. And then, so I got up Friday, we did some bits and pieces Friday night. When I went to bed again late Friday night, early Saturday morning, I was in bed and I remember I had terrible trouble sleeping, and I was really hot, ever so hot. Not sweating, just hot. And I thought, oh my God, I'm going to fall asleep and I'm going to wake up soaking wet. Has that ever happened to you when you've sweated at night? It's happened to me a couple of times. Not really in the last few months or so. But I thought, and it's going to be a wet bed. But I didn't actually. I kept thinking I couldn't sleep because I was looking at the clock. It was at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, you're laying there and laying there. Next time I looked, it was 4 o'clock. So I thought, well, I must have drifted off. I can't believe I've actually stayed awake for 2 hours. And I looked again and it was 6 o'clock. So I must have slept, although I didn't feel I had. And then when I got up in the morning, there it was, the cold, bit of a cough, running nose, awful. Isn't that awful when you go away somewhere and you're ill? It's bad enough going up to my sister's. When you have, and people do have, when they go abroad and they have a serious illness. I mean, that's why travel insurance is so important. I know so many people that skip on the travel insurance, and it's the worst thing you can do. It really is. You mustn't do that. You must buy travel insurance. But when you're seriously ill, whether you've got the travel insurance or not, it must be so worrying if you're in a foreign country. Not so much perhaps if it's somewhere like, I don't know, America or Australia or France, Germany, Italy, Israel, anywhere like that. But if you're in sort of perhaps a country that isn't so well equipped as some of us are, I'm trying to think of examples. I'd perhaps say you went to somewhere like Bangladesh and you became terribly ill over there. Would be a terrible, terrible worry, would it? I know a friend, I had a friend years ago, about 15 years ago. His name was Richard. He was about, at the time, I suppose he was about 40, 45. Really gentle, lovely person. He used to come to one of my 70s. I used to run a 70s and 80s disco night in London, which was very successful. We got it worked very well for about 6 or 7 years, and then it died. You see, times move on. That's what happens. Nothing is forever. And you, as you sort of in the sort of DJing world, as you have been doing the job for longer and longer, you understand that it doesn't worry you. Everything has a shelf life. Probably this program has a shelf life. I don't know. And he used to come every single Monday night, and he was such a lovely man. And at the time, I used to drink, not a lot. I couldn't drink a lot anyway because I was driving. Just a pint of lager, that's all I had. And he always used to come in and buy me a pint of lager. And he was very, very friendly. He was a quiet man, very friendly. And he always used to ask, what was the record he used to ask for? Rock Your Baby, George McRae. I think that was the record he used to ask for. Yeah, rock. You know that one? Rock Your Baby. George McRae, soul artist, great tune. And he went to India for a holiday. And he caught something there and died. I don't want to worry you if you're going to anywhere like that. But it certainly goes through my head, what, if anything serious happens while you're abroad? I was talking to someone about this the other day. He said, you don't go on holiday. I said, well, I number one, I don't like flying. He said, oh, they've got courses now. I said, no, I'm not. You don't follow me. I'm not scared of flying. I hate it. It's just so blooming inconvenient. It really is. Turning up at the airport hours before and all that business. And the other thing is, it worries me if I fall sick. It's, oh, you got medical insurance. I said, yeah, no, it worries me if I'm somewhere else and you're sick. It would worry me. So that's another reason I don't really travel abroad very much. Of course, something could happen on the plane, couldn't it? You see those films, don't you? When someone has a heart attack on the plane. Is there a doctor on board? I mean, what if there's not? That's the end of that, isn't it? I think I need to carry around a portable defibrillator or something like that, eh? And an oxygen tank and everything. Maybe I'm just too blooming careful, I don't know. But what about you? Have you ever been seriously ill abroad? I always hear of people who go to India and within 2 or 3 days they have a bad stomach and they end up spending 2 days on the toilet. I mean, that's not my idea of a holiday. And it seems to happen too often to be an unusual thing. Has it happened to you? Have you ever been on holiday somewhere, far from home? Sorry, I'm stiff in there. Far from home and been sort of fairly seriously ill? If so, I want to know about it. Tell me on the email. How frightening was that? Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. That's my email address. Have you ever been on holiday and been really ill? I just you know, it's bad enough when you're at home. But when you spent all that money going somewhere and you're not able to enjoy the money, you know, the holiday that you've paid for. Awful. Has it happened to you? If so, where were you? And did it turn out all right? Or are you now dead? In which case, how are you watching this programme? Is there a little computer in your coffin somewhere and you're tuned in watching? Eh? Are you? What a great idea, really. Sometimes when people die, and you have the coffin, don't you? And people come along and they put things in the coffin, like mementos or photographs. How about, for your loved ones, you could put in a little DVD of one of my shows to keep people entertained while they're sleeping down there. Just a suggestion. If you want one of those free of charge, then just email in and I'll send one off to you to include your name and address. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. But please tell me, have you ever been on holiday and been quite poorly? How frightening was that? And did you feel like you were looked after properly? What country were you in? What were the people like? Did any of them speak English? That's the other thing. When you call up when you go into a hospital in another country, what if no one speaks English? How do they know what's wrong then? Or maybe that's the whole doctor thing, is they could just look at you and they actually don't need to talk to you. They do all these tests and bits and pieces, don't they, on you? Maybe they know, I don't know. Chris@UnitedKingdomTalk.co.uk. Now, we were speaking about Jade, who's Suko's daughter, who done very well in the competition. From one young person to another one, who's going to get a bit of congratulations. And it's our old mate, Fizzer Sap. Hi, Chris. This is from Marsha. Hello, Marsha. Sorry, my darling. I know it's taken a long time for this email to come up. Hi, Chris. Hope you are well. I've been meaning to write and comment on Fizzer Sap's work over at YouTube. Now, if you haven't seen Fizzer Sap's videos on YouTube, very easy to find. Go to youtube.com/Fizzer Sap. FIZZASAP. Or is it SAP or SUP? Oh, I can't remember. Let me just check. Sorry, I'm starting the the noises again. I should be locked up, I tell you. FIZZASAP. I often get that wrong. Oh, hang on, is that the right one? Yeah, that's it, yeah. YouTube.com, Fizzasap, FIZZASAP. Now, he also puts on videos from other things, other than what he's made himself. Actually, where are his videos? I don't see his videos. Where's his videos gone? He's only got 4 on there now. And then I don't think they're him. Oh, I don't know why that is. I've got the right thing. He's clearly a football supporter. Oh, let me just send him a message. Oh, that's a shame. I hope he hasn't taken negative comments to heart. I did tell him not to listen to people. Where have your videos gone, mate? I can't see any of your own. Chris. There we are. Send him a little email. Because, there we are. Sent that email to him. Because, unfortunately, he was getting a couple of negative comments from people at his school, I believe. And he was getting quite upset about that. I did tell him to ignore them. Quite often people are jealous, I think. Or they would like to be doing something that you can do. And because they don't or they can't, they tend to run down your work. And if you're not thick-skinned, I'm very thick-skinned, I can sort of take criticism and leave it or in one ear and out the other now. You get used to it after a while. For a young person of, I think it's 14, it's difficult, you know? It's awful. If you've got a child or someone, encouragement is the thing. Encouragement. But I think you also have to be very careful. If a child is not particularly good at something, perhaps like singing, then whatever you do, I don't think you should tell them that they are really good singers. Because eventually someone will have to tell them that they can't sing. And you shouldn't build them up to think that they can sing if they really can't. We've seen that before on The X Factor. And it's very upsetting for the child when someone suddenly tells them, actually, you can't sing, when the whole family has been telling them that they can. But Fizzer, on the other hand, is good at those videos. And here's someone else that agrees with me. Marsha says, not being a technical person myself, I couldn't comment much about quality, but I am extremely impressed by Fizzasap's dedication. Experience has taught me that if you find something you love at such a young age and can dedicate yourself to getting better and better at it, you will find that when the time comes, you will be able to find a way to get paid to do it. Since the vast majority of people going to work every day hate their jobs, I would say that will put young Fizzasap in a great position. I remember a few weeks ago when you first introduced us to Fizzasap, once again, youtube.com/Fizzasap, FIZZASAP. Notice I did it in American then. Did you hear that? We say Z, you say Z, didn't you? youtube.com/FIZZASAP. His email mentioned that someone told him he was crap and should just quit. I sincerely hope he plans to completely ignore that incredibly bad advice. You see, someone else is saying this now, Fizzer. It's not just me. Told you were good. It's been my experience that advice like that typically comes from someone who would not be happy for you to succeed in the very thing they are trying to stop you doing. Oh, Marsha, I've had this time and time again over the years. I really have. Something I've wanted to do, something that I've believed I wasn't, certainly not the best. I've never ever believed I've been the best at anything. And that's the truth. My radio work, my DJing, Everything that I do, and I'm not asking you to write in and say, oh, don't be silly. Please don't do that. Everything I do, I have never thought I've been particularly good at. However, I've loved doing it, so I continue to do it. But there's been occasions where I thought, yeah, I'm not bad at doing this, and then someone comes along and shuts the door. It's almost like they don't want you to succeed. Usually, people who know nothing at all about whatever the thing is you're trying to do. I've had this for years on the DJ circuit that I work on. In the clubs and the bars where I've worked, predominantly the gay scene in London, we have a couple of like newspapers or magazines that are given out free every week. And over the years, I've got very, very little coverage on the stuff I do in these magazines. Yet other people are constantly in there, and it's annoying. It's annoying. It's not annoying now, because I think you have to rise above it. But at the time, you know, when you see other people always in the news, in this particular magazine, or magazines rather, you constantly see them time and time again, and yet you never get a mention, only within someone's perhaps advertisement. And it's annoying. It's annoying. But I'm afraid, certainly on that thing, you've got to fit in. You've got to fit in. You've got to lick. You know what I mean? You've got to kiss their bums if you want to get in these magazines and all that business. And I'm afraid I just won't do it. I do what I do. End of story. If you like it, great. Welcome along. If you don't like it, turn it off. End of story. And when you're trying to get a bit of what's the word? When you want the word to go around about something you did, and it's nothing more hurtful than having the door slammed in your face. No, we're not printing anything about you. Don't get me wrong, I've had a couple of articles, but certain people are in there time and time again. Eventually you give up. I certainly won't start, you know, oh, please, can you do this? Or going around or going out with people just so I can be in some magazine. And it makes you wonder if the people in the magazine, you see, they will have their own friends who are DJs, and their friends are the ones that get the write-ups. I know how it works. You've either got to be friendly with them or become friendly with them or sleep with them. I won't do any of that. Why should I? So, you're quite right there, Marsha. It's just awful when people close a door. No, you're not doing that. Or we won't help you. It's horrible, horrible. Marcia says, these kinds of people don't want to work as hard as you are willing to work to make good things happen in their lives. So they try to discourage you from doing the same. I've seen this so many times. So many times. I've had young people come up to me, oh, I'd like to be a DJ. Oh, I'm really into music and all this. Okay. And then they come back a few months later, and how's it going? Oh, it's not going well at all. I'm thinking of giving it up. Why are you giving it up? No one will give me a chance. No, you've got to keep on going. You must keep banging on those doors. Eventually, you will find someone like me who will give you a chance. If I had a little club or something, you know, and it was open between, I don't know, 10 and 2 o'clock in the morning, or 10 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and a young DJ came to me, I'd like to have a shot. I say, okay, come in one night, you can do the 10 to 11 slot. Now, there won't be many people in at that time, and the people that are there will know that the guy will be finishing at 11 o'clock. So there's not too much damage to be done. Do you see what I mean? But a lot of club owners and bar owners will not give someone young a chance. However, Some of them will. You've got to keep trying. Do not give up. If I gave up years ago, then I wouldn't be doing this show now, probably. If I took any notice of some of the emails, I'll be honest, I'm talking, over the years I've been doing this show, I've had no more than about 7 horrible emails. Not horrible, but, 7 emails that say, you're rubbish at this, why are you doing it? We don't want to watch. Fine, don't watch, but I'm carrying on doing it because someone does. And it's the same for you, Fizzer. If you're watching this show, please, I have a feeling you've given up. Don't give up. You're good at this. You progress. As you keep doing something, I think you get better. I don't think I've got any better, but I think you do. And whoever's in charge of these young people must be giving them encouragement to do that. There's a lot of people here in the UK trying to get on local radio stations, getting it harder and harder now. I've never wanted to be on an independent local station because the restrictions is just so restricted and they're terrified about upsetting anyone and all this business. That's why I went on the podcast and internet radio route. There's not so many restrictions. And the last thing don't get me wrong, the last thing I'd ever want to do is upset someone. But when you're sending those tapes and things to the local radio stations, do you really think anyone's listening to those? No, they're not. They like to play safe now. The big I run a radio station. How exciting is that? But you will find people, they just seem to be so few and far between. You will find people that give you a chance. You just have to keep at it, and it's hard. It's nothing worse than, oh, hello, I'm a DJ, can you give me a job for a night? Banging on people's doors like it's horrible, but I'm afraid it's the only way to do it. All right? Another way to do some things like that is to keep doing what you do and hope someone notices. That's what happened with me a few times. I just do what I do. All right? Now, this show is played out by a few different radio stations. The bosses of these radio stations, they don't have time to listen to every show before it goes out. Therefore, they are really, I suppose, taking a bit of a risk. How do you know I'm not going to swear in the next 5 seconds? You don't. But I won't. And you kind of build up a bit of a trust, I think, between people who run these net stations and yourself. The live show I do now for someone, he heard my show, liked it, asked me to come and do something there. So sometimes you can pick up the work like that, but the secret is to keep it going. You must keep it going. Marsha says, if the people that are discouraging you turn around 10 years now and see you on television presenting a show, that person will be filled with envy at what or she could have accomplished if only that Jade worked as hard as you did. And it's funny you should say that. I think it's been the same person doing it all along, but I had someone who kept sending in derogatory emails to the other station I do the live show for. And the boss there said, don't worry about it, we all get those same emails. He said, besides, email them back and tell them when you've won an award, which is doubtful. I don't think I'll ever win an award for this, but nevertheless, that's the sort of thing that Marsha is saying as well. You never know. I never thought 5 years ago I'd be sitting here talking to you like this. It's funny how things work out, isn't it? Marsha says to Fizzer, that is why you should completely ignore advice that comes from people whom you know will not be happy for you when you succeed. Ignore them. Totally ignore them. You mentioned, Chris, that you must have thick skin to deal with all the criticism you will receive when you put your creative work out there. I know you said you usually just like to ignore such things, but I have a response to letters of criticism that I think you will greatly appreciate. It was written by an early 20th century American essayist named H.L. Mencken. It says, "Dear Sir, Madam, I am sitting here in the smallest room in my house with your letter of criticism before me. Soon it will be behind me. Just a little critic humour." I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. And I've said before here on the show, Marsha, if you have any letters of criticism or anything like that, please do send them through. I'm always looking for new bits of paper to use after I've finished using the toilet. All right? That's a great email, Marsha. Bye for now, and keep up the great work, Fizzer. Your friend across the pond, Marsha. So thanks for that, Marsha, and some great words of encouragement there for our little friend Fizzer. Hello to Millie. It's Millie in Minnesota, motorised Millie. Hello, Millie. Who's turned out to be a little radio star herself, haven't you, my love? I knew you would. I knew you'd fit in. Millie says, let's see. Sorry. As regular listeners of United Kingdom Talk know, I'm planning a trip to England for September. On the 20th of March, I got the most heart-wrenching, gut-tearing, heartbreaking news I've gotten in a very long time. I was told that one of my dear friends, whom I was to see during my time there, died suddenly at the age of 37. I had spoken to her just 24 hours before, and there was absolutely no indication at the time that there was anything amiss. She leaves behind a husband of 5 weeks, just 5 weeks, and 4 children ranging in age from 12 to 2. The most horrible thing of all is that it was her eldest child who found his mother. That must be a terrible thing for a child to find their mother, don't you think, dead? I had an aunt, Auntie Pat. She used to smoke a lot. I always remember her smoking all the time. And she killed herself many, many years ago, this was. And her son found her in fields in Milton Keynes. Can you just imagine what that must be like? It's bad enough when you're older. Perhaps you almost expect it. Once you get to sort of 40 or 50 and your mum's 80 or 90, it's horrible, but not unexpected. But can you imagine yourself as a child finding your mother dead? Millie says, I just can't get my head round this one, Chris. I'm usually a very strong woman, as you know, but this has me absolutely in bits. One of the other things that hit me hard was when I told that the youngest child, a little girl, didn't understand why Mummy wasn't there to give her cuddles anymore. And her dad had the terrible job of trying to explain why. That was when I decided to do something for the children. I'm going to make angels, or at least something angel-related for each of them, and send it over when it's finished. I'll email you pictures of whatever it is before I drop it into the post. I feel like I should be there in England right now, being there for the family, instead of stuck all the way over here in Minnesota, chatting to them via internet and phone. Thanks for letting me get this off my chest. Lots of love from Millie. Yeah, it's a horrible thing, isn't it, Millie? I do hope that you'll perhaps still go and visit the children when you come over. Because Millie is actually, motorised Millie, will be coming to my karaoke night as well, won't you, Millie? As well as the other bits and pieces. Seeing the sights of London. Big Ben. Huh? What are you going to sing? I hope you'll be able to sing at my karaoke night, my darling. Actually, I need to check. You've got portable ramp for your wheelchair, so you'll be all right coming up onto them. It's not a proper stage, but it's kind of one step up. You'll be all right with that, my darling. Don't worry. Okay, now you remember, I have now joined the council swimming pool. And we're talking about the gym membership that the private gym I belong to, or gym and come swimming pool I belong to. I'm talking about the renewal rates had gone up quite considerably. And there's an email from Ross. This was a show, or must have been about 6 weeks ago now. Hi Chris, hi Ross. On the subject of your gym membership, £715. What a rip-off. Well, I didn't pay it, as you know, Ross. I now belong to the council one, which is about £320 for the year. And that's just to use the swimming pool. I don't use the gym. I would never ever pay that much money for something like that. My mate started going to the gym and found he enjoyed it, as he could go there after work. He tried it out for a week and enjoyed it. The next week, he joined up for a year around the same price you are paying. In the next 12 months, he said he only went 6 times as he had to move buildings at work and did no longer work near the gym, and they never made the effort to go after that. He tried cancelling, explaining he didn't use it, but they had the money and said in the terms and conditions that he didn't check that you cannot get your money back. Now, this is so true, and you will find a lot, if not most, gyms work like this. Once you've paid, that's it. It doesn't matter if you go on an 8-week cruise around the world or whether you're stuck up in hospital for a couple of months. You will not get your money back. You've got to understand that. They tie you in. They're very, very clever. They're like a mobile phone contract. They're exactly the same, gyms. Remember, gyms, they're not that bothered about how healthy you are. It's a business. They are there to make money. Of course, if they weren't able to do the job that they say they can do, then they wouldn't hold on to you. So yes, I mean, I'm not complaining about the gym I go to, or I used to go to. No complaints about the cleanliness, about the instructors, the staff, all fantastic. I just thought they got a bit greedy and put the money up too much. So I went. That was it. Off. I'm just still surprised that they didn't even try and hold on to me by offering me something else. But there you go. Ross says, me and Donna go for walks 2 days a week for a 2-hour walk. So that's 4 hours a week. And we pay nothing as we walk around Norwich or along the river. Well, the best forms of exercise, I've been told many times, are walking and swimming. So there we are. And I do both of those. Donna has her Norwich City Football Club season ticket renewal sheet here. And it's umming and ahhing whether to go, as it's not a lot of money like yours. Yeah. Thank you, Ross. It's horrendously expensive now to go to football matches, isn't it? A lot of it's the players, you know. They get thousands. I've always thought that's not right. You know, when I've never been a football fan. I can't stand the game. But my dad was an enormous football fan. And in those times, they played football for the football. And a lot of time now they're playing football for the money. It's very, very different. And I think the players get far too much. On the other hand, if you were a football player and you were offered £10 million for this, what are you going to do? Oh, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm just playing it for the game. Although I have to say, I played the organ at a church years ago now. And I didn't charge them. I was offered money and I said, no, I do this for the church. Well, that's not exactly the same thing, is it, I suppose? I don't agree with that sort of mentality. Certainly when it comes to a religious thing, whatever religion you're in, I don't think you should be paid to do things for the church. You do that for the love of the church. It's a different thing of football, isn't it? Because they're all making money. Thank you, Ross. Ross presents his own podcast. You can find that at rosspatzout.co.uk. rosspatzout.co.uk. It's our mate Joe Morris Another podcaster. We've got all the podcasters here today from AmericanTalkUSA.com. Hello, Joe. He says, Dear Chris, Ross P. noted on his Twitter... Yeah, I've got Twitter as well now. My Twitter is Chris Reardon UK. Why have I got it? I don't know, because I think it's a load of rubbish, Twitter. I really do. But I'm afraid I've been a little bit like a sheep here, and I've followed everyone else onto it, so I'm there. Twitter.com/Chris Reardon UK, if you'd like to join me on there. Joe says, the sound of Twitter struck me as terribly funny. Oh, it does. It does. Ross P. has noted on his Twitter that Irvine De Stiller, that is Wayne Anonymous, who is a regular correspondent to this show, Irvine should do his own podcast. And the more I think about it, the more I realise that Ross is absolutely correct. And I think so as well. So I propose to the collective body and adjunct members of Reardon Town, of which, if you're listening or watching this programme, you are a member of Reardon Town, OK? We all rally behind our friend Irvine De Stiller and encourage him to divert time away from the production of the recipe and repercussions from its consumption to the fruitful discourse of the Personal Journal podcast. Besides, it will give Ross P. another show to Skype. So either by petition or a simple show of hands, all those in favour of Irvine De Stiller doing his own show, please raise your hand. Thank you. There we go. Sincerely, Joe Morris, Eastern Tennessee, United States of America. Yes, I think so as well. Got to get Irvine doing his own show. Maybe he doesn't want to do a show on his own. He might prefer to do it with someone. Some people, they need... or would prefer someone else to do a show with them. I, on the other hand, I've tried to do sort of double shows with people before and it doesn't kind of work. Although the live show I do, it does involve other people and that's okay. It depends on the show. Depends on the show and the person, I think. Irvine also wrote, I should like to thank you for the dog breeding link. I have now bought a dog. He has bought a Yorkshire Terrier, a Yorkie. She's a wee tiny thing, and she gives my eyes fits, watery, itchy yikes. Oh, for God's sake, honestly, Joe. Just to let you know, Joe is a bit allergic to animal fur, as indeed I am. I've terrible, terrible asthma, and it makes his eyes water, sneezing, the whole lot. I'm sure you know the sort of thing. And he asked us a few shows ago if we had any advice on dogs that would be suitable for allergy sufferers. So kind people wrote in and sent links for this, which I read out on the show. And he's gone and bought something that's nothing like it. He's bought a furry dog. What's your game, Joe? I don't know why we bother. I really don't. I honestly don't know why we bother. He says, she gives my eyes fits, watery, itchy, but I take Zyrtec every morning, and that seems to help. Plus, Visine makes an allergy drop that works out pretty good too. I understand there's a series of allergy shots that you can take, but I'm not sure about going that route. Ah, you want to speak to Susan, our cat lover, about that? She knows all about that. Susan... have you got anywhere that Joe's in Tennessee, he's interested in the allergy shots that you often wrote to me about? Have you got any links that I could give him, please? Let us know, OK? Email address for this show, by the way, if you haven't written it down already and you want to join in, it's chris@unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. Can we have a few emails from the people of Bracknell in, please? My hometown, this is where I am. Bracknell. Where are you? John writes in sometimes, don't you, John? It's nice to hear from you. And he also attached a screenshot of his house, which he found on Google. Google Street View. That's it. He says, if you did, and he sends me some instructions there on looking at Google Street View, which I can do now. He says, if you don't see a Street View picture next to the address, then that street hasn't been photographed yet. He says, also, on Google Street View, you can move it up or down the street anywhere you see a yellow arrow, which I've now been able to do. If the arrows don't appear, then that street hasn't been photographed as well. I think it's somehow scary, the Street View technology. But I also think it's kind of cool that I can look at the house I grew up at, or the house that my parents lived in when I was a baby. And that must be quite nice. But isn't this a slight invasion of privacy, don't you think, from Joe? Yes, I do. I don't think it's good enough for people or for Google to say, well, if you don't like it, just email and we'll take it off. No, I don't think that's good enough at all. It should be the other way round. Hello, we've got pictures on you. Or, mind you, how would they contact someone? It's very, very difficult, isn't it, really? I don't like my picture taken by the, the cameras that are all over London, as I've mentioned many, many times on the show before. But what can you do about it? There's nothing you can do, is there? It is wrong, I think. It is wrong. Carl in Yorkshire writes, rotten eggs could be the local drainage. I get that sometime too. We're talking about this problem with the smelling in the kitchen, and I now know what it is, boys and girls. I'm glad and happy to tell you I have worked out where the smell is coming from. But that's for the next show, because I've run out of time. As always, boys and girls, it's been a pleasure chatting away with you, not to you, with you, for the last near enough hour. Join me again, as always, the main website for the show. And we've got two websites now. One for the audio, unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk. And if you like the video side of things, you can always watch as well as listen at unitedkingdomtalk.tv. unitedkingdomtalk.tv. I'll see you on the next show. Join in. Chris at unitedkingdomtalk.co.uk is the email address. Thanks for watching and listening. Bye-bye.